is the moment, the greatest of them all. A tribute to Broadway, as we pay tribute to my favorite Broadway star in the house. This is the moment, this is the day, when I send all my doubts and demons on their way. Every endeavor I have made ever, they're coming into play. It's here and now today. This is the moment, this is the time, when the momentum and the moment are in rhyme. Give me this moment, this precious chance. I'll gather up my past and make some sense at last. This is the moment when all I've done, when all the dreaming, scheming and screaming become one. This is the day. See it sparkle and shine when all I've lived for become mine. For all these years I faced the world alone, and now the time has come to prove to them I've made it on my own. This is the my final test. Destiny beckons, I never reckon second best. I won't look down, I must not fall. This is the moment, the sweetest moment of them all. This is the moment, damn all the odds. This day or never, I sit forever with my God. I won't look back, I will always recall, moment for moment. This is that moment, the greatest moment of them all. Thank you, and good evening. It's Martin in the house from the Solar Watch Party. Thank you for watching us. You're not gonna miss this episode as we pay tribute to Broadway, although every song I'll be singing tonight is not a Broadway song that my guest has popularized. In fact, none of them are. All I know is tonight is a Broadway night for me. I'm a big, big fan, not just of Broadway and the Broadway songs, as I've been doing through the years in my career, but the Broadway star you're about to meet. Now, it doesn't mean that we don't have songs that she herself has popularized. Listen carefully. Half the world is sleeping, half the world's awake, half can hear their heartbeat, half just hear them break. I am but a traveler in most every way. Ask me what you want to know. What a journey it has been, and the not inside, but the stars are out tonight, and they're bound to guide my way. When they're shining on my life, I can see a better day. I won't let the darkness in. What a journey it has been. Forward, always forward. Onward, always up. Catching every drop of hope in my empty cup. What a journey it has been. And the end is not in sight, but the stars are out tonight, and they're bound to guide my way. When they're shining on my life, I can see a better day. I won't let the darkness in. What a journey it has been. And what a journey that she has taken us through. The journey of my favorite amazing star from Broadway and the Philippines. I give you Leia Salonga. Thank you so much for spending this evening with us. How are you?
I'm okay.
Why are
I'm
you
good.
laughing?
Well, yeah, it's just funny. I just find it funny that you've been doing this every single day.
Isn't it crazy? All
It's
night
nuts, but
long.
I mean, I sometimes I'm listening to you guys. I'm at my bed and I'm knitting something, and and you guys are just keeping me company with just talk. Just you guys are just talking, singing, whatever. I'm singing along. Like if Vicky's doing a solo, I'll just be singing along with her. Yeah, it's just nice. It's just like having just a good friend that's just happens to be right there beside you. It's nice. I mean, you do risk some overexposure, but I mean, it's you. It's you. So I mean, it's fine, and people can kind of come and go as they please.
No,
You
man.
know,
The whole
no
purpose
one's.
is just to
Yeah.
keep them company and then to make a little noise in their house. Because is it quiet in your house? Because I imagine everyone's house is quiet now. So we're trying to give noise with this Martin in the house concept. How
It's
quiet is it in your house?
Mark. You know me. I'm not really that quiet. It can be. I do like the quiet sometimes, but normally I'll have music playing, or I'll be watching something on TV, or my daughter will like when I pass her room, like there's normally noise coming out of it, like she's chatting with her friends or she's watching different things on YouTube. So it's not the most quiet house, and I guess it might be a function of the work that we do, where we're always so used to having noise or music or something happening. But I do like my moments of solitude when nothing is happening and it's just atmospheric, and
Right.
it's yeah. But it's not the quietest house. There's
Walk
always
me
something
through
happening.
when you're studying for a role, like for instance, Sweeney Todd is the last one I saw you in.
Yeah.
You were amazing in Sweeney Todd. Now,
Thanks.
but that's a lot of practice, a lot of memorizing, a lot of you're checking your accent.
There's a
You have to
lot.
be with an accent, the acting, the witty, almost punchline type
Yeah,
lyrics
the
in your
the
songs.
banter. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a
How
lot. It's a lot. A show like that is a lot.
how do you study for something like that?
You give yourself the time. Truly, you need to give yourself the time. I got my script and my score. Uh, when did I get my script and my score? I got my script and my score around like maybe a few months before. Like we started rehearsing in September. I got everything in like June so
Mm-hmm.
that I could start learning everything and studying everything. Especially the music. I had to focus on the music first. So that when we got to staging everything, I didn't have to worry about the songs anymore. So yeah, so I started, I was plunking things out on the piano. I was listening to so many different versions on so many different cast albums so that I could have like a consistent reference. And
Right.
I landed on the 2012 West End run with Imelda Staunton, also known as Dolores Umbridge from the Harry Potter movies, who played Sweeney Todd opposite Michael Ball,
That was your
and
peg.
she was Mrs. Lovett. Yeah, so that was my peg. So my peg was her. Just because it was a darker interpretation and a darker production. So I went with that. So Bobby and I were like, yeah, we're going to go with that. Um, and then I had a dialect coach to help me with the Cockney, because it's actually not a difficult accent to do, as long as you know what you're supposed to be hitting and what you're supposed to be dropping as far as
Right.
the consonants. But
Right.
it's not that hard to do. And I
But
guess it was helpful that I lived in the UK for a while, so a lot of that kind of stayed in my head.
do you have to? I mean, that's another good point. Do you really, to get into a role, do you have to be that person? Like you said now, to have that accent. You had it around you in the UK when you were there,
Yeah.
but in other roles that you've had, did you have to dive into that? Were you that person 24/7 when you're talking in the house with the people around you? Do you speak in that language,
No, no, no,
in
no,
that
no.
accent?
I have to leave everything in rehearsal. I mean, Sweeney Todd is such a dark show. I mean, there's a lot of humor in it to counter the the bloodiness of the story. Thank goodness for all the humor. It was such a good balance. It was such a genius show. But no, I'm not one of those people that kind of lives in the skin of a
Hmm.
character for 24 hours a day. I can't do it. It was
Wow.
one of those things that I had to leave in the rehearsal room and go back to my own life when I would leave when I would leave rehearsal. It's like, okay, back to normal. I had to like try to get rid of it.
You can do that. You can turn it off and on, off and on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. After a while, it becomes like second nature. When the lights hit you, you're the character. When you're backstage, then it's back to speaking in Tagalog. It's back to speaking with my normal accent. It's yeah. You kind of, I guess, when you do theater, given all of the technical stuff that could go wrong, you still have to have a foot in reality,
Right.
just so you don't stop. Your awareness of your surroundings doesn't just go off, because
Right.
it's yeah. I think in film you can afford to do that, um, because there are other people who will take care of everything for you. But in theater, it's not like one of the stage crew can run and fix something. You kind of have to make do with if something goes wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
What comes first for you? Do you have a system, Leia, where you have, I'll do the script first, the acting and the lines, I'll work on that first, and then the music? Or do you do it sabay-sabay? What is your system of studying?
It depends on the show. Sometimes it's nice to do everything kind of all at the same time. But for something like Sweeney, it had to be the music first, because there were complicated patterns that a lot of us had to figure out. Um, and some of the like time signatures would change. Like you'd have stuff that would change on a dime. Um, and just like, oh God, okay, now we're going now from like 3/4, all of a sudden you're going into another time signature. Like even just for one bar, something will change. So we all had to have as much of the music as we could. So we had there were a couple of days of music rehearsal in August. All the principals had one day, and the ensemble had another day. And those who would go back and forth between ensemble and principal would have to attend those rehearsals for both days. So we had a session with Manman Angsiko, who was our vocal director, just to go through every single song,
Hmm.
because some of that stuff
Not
is
easy.
so hard. It's
Not
just
easy.
so hard. And those of us that could read music were already having a hard time. And then we had members of our company that didn't read at all, and they had to kind of find their own way around for the score to make sense. And it was tough. It was really, really tough. And it would drive us crazy. Um, it would drive everybody nuts. But
I'm sure.
yeah, it was tough. But yeah, so a lot of us had to do the music first to get all of the stuff that was written down into our bodies, and then we can start focusing on the story and on the
Right.
dialogue, because the dialogue itself wasn't difficult. It's really the music that is hard
Right.
in a Sondheim show.
And in the how much of your person do you put into your role, and especially that one, because that's so not you.
It's so not me. So I
I
guess
hope.
yeah, right. Can you imagine? I think there was the cool thing about it is that there's nothing about this woman that's me. So it was so much easier to dive into her, because then it was just imagination. It's maybe, oh, who do I know that's like this? And then kind of incorporating essences and bits and pieces of that other person into the role, and kind of magnifying, the personality traits of other human beings in that. So it was just a lot of fun, because it was like a coat that you could put on and then take off. Best
You
time.
seem so at ease at that with that character, and at the same time, I was telling Angela watching. I said, "Remind me, we're never eating in Leia's house, especially pie. We're not having any pie, right?" That's the first thing I said. We're not having pie in your house. Now, of your roles that you have played, uh, who is the closest to Leia Salonga,
Oh,
to your character, to your person, to your
of all the roles
values?
that I have played,
Mhm.
I think everything else that I'd played up until then, there will be part of me that's in there, whether it's just, even if it's my laughter, even if it's just how I will naturally respond to certain situations. Um, I think all of the other ones, there will be an element of who I am somewhere in there. But Love It is like a complete 180.
Now, when you are on tour, when you're like when you're
Yeah,
on stage, and you're away from the Philippines, and you live your community, your actors are becoming your family.
yeah.
Yes. Do you miss that? I mean, you've been, especially now that we're in quarantine. Do you think about that? Do you ever recall what was more? In other words, what is more? What do you miss more, opening night or closing night? Because those are the two most special times, right?
Oh yeah. Opening nights are exciting because it's the beginning of something. You're beginning a run, and it's kind of, well, then think about opening nights, an ending and a beginning. It's when the rehearsal process is, that's
Yes,
the
yes.
official ending of it. So basically, you freeze everything once you hit opening night, and then you focus on continuing to organically develop this character and grow, where it just kind of um, develops on its own in the course of doing a run. And when you're in a long run, then you're blessed with more time to really shape this character. And by the time closing night arrives, um, sometimes you feel like it's not enough time. And even though you may have advanced and developed this character far more than what opening night's version was, sometimes you feel like, okay, I've had enough. I'm done. I'm good. I'm good with what I've done with her. Or, oh my gosh, this wasn't enough time. I wish I could have had more to
Mm,
grow this part of her.
right.
And something Jet Pangan said, like after closing night, he said, I finally met the Sweeney I wanted to be on the night we closed. It's like,
Wow.
and so it's yeah, and that's our closing in Singapore, when we had like a couple of months already of it in our bodies. So it's like, blessed are those that get to have a run of months and months, because of just how far you can take something.
And you
Yeah,
read a lot. I can see that you read a lot too,
I mean,
yes?
there's books back there, but there was one that I just finished, and it's one that I would highly recommend. Trevor Noah wrote a book called Born a Crime, and it talks about his childhood and growing up in South Africa during apartheid.
Hmm.
And it's a really interesting story how somebody like him with a white father and a
That's
South
right.
African black mother was, because of the laws, he was literally a crime when he
Yes.
was born. And it's not a difficult read. It's he kind of writes the way he speaks, and you get a little bit of insight into why he is so calm and, during his hosting stint on The Daily Show, how he doesn't get all neurotic. It's like,
Hmm.
because he's grown up under far worse circumstances
Oh,
than the
yes.
stuff that he's reporting on The Daily Show now. And he's very intelligent, very insightful. So it's a book I would highly recommend.
Being Filipino, being Asian, have you ever encountered that kind of a feeling? Were you ever given any kind of bad looks, or do you think maybe someone favored someone over you because they weren't Asian? You get my point?
Yeah. I mean, I've not been allowed to audition for roles because of my racial background, which was interesting. Um, then a few months after that happened, I got cast as Eponine in Les Mis, and I'm like, well, okay, that's sort of karmic cancellation, I guess, of sorts. Um, and I guess I felt, as an Asian performer, especially after getting cast as Eponine, I felt I needed to prove something.
Hmm.
Um, Not so much that I had a chip on my shoulder, but I felt like I had something to prove, that casting like this, it shouldn't just be considered a stunt to get people into the theaters during the bad winter season. I mean, it's not. It shouldn't just be about that.
Hmm.
Um, but that this kind of casting can be done, and that this kind of casting makes sense, and that it doesn't hinder the storytelling.
Hmm.
Um, and a show like Les Mis, where race isn't even in the discussion,
That's right.
um, meaning it's absolutely possible for something like this to, you know, to be a much more common thing.
What
Yeah.
about in Allegiance? Allegiance had a different type, a war story. I
Yeah,
mean,
this one was a war story, and this one, race was absolutely
yes,
an uncredited cast member in
right.
this. So we needed to see that, yes, these were Asians, and yes, these were white people. That the soldiers had to be Caucasian, had to be played by Caucasian men, and that the internees had to be played by Asian actors. So
Okay.
there was me, there's George Takei, there's Telly Leung, Michael K. Lee. Um, we had an opera baritone named Chris Nomura, who played my father. We had a whole bunch of amazing singer, dancer, actors of Asian descent that did this role, that did this show, and we just felt this was our story to tell, and we get to tell it in the way we want to.
It's a
So
great
yeah,
story. It was,
it
and the
was.
music was great.
Thanks for coming. I mean, I
Of
remember you
course.
being there, and you
Anything you
freaking
do,
out.
Leia, just so you know, anything that you do, we all, and I speak for everybody, especially the artists who admire you, because I don't know if you think about this, but we are so proud that you're Filipino, that you wave our flag, whether you know it or not. When we see you with Rosie O'Donnell, or we see you with Oprah, or Ellen, or anybody who has anything to do with the world of the entertainment world that we want to touch, you're actually
Right.
in it. You're in it. Is it a conscious effort on your part? How proud are you, not just of your achievements, but what your achievements do for us, this country?
I don't know if it's something I think about necessarily, but I do try to always be on my best behavior under those, in those situations. Um, Only because I don't like it when we are spoken of with derision, or if there's an insult hurled in our
Hmm.
direction. Um, I do like it when I'm associated with being Filipino in a positive way. Um, I do the best I can. I guess. I
You
guess that's
hear
all
that
I
too.
can
You
do.
hear
Yeah.
you hear positive things too, right? Oh,
Yeah.
Oh my God, I love the Philippines because blah 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 blah.
Yeah. I do, and it's nice to be able to contribute to that sort of
Oh, you have
positive image.
big time, Leia, big
Thank you.
time. You are.
Thank
I
you.
keep telling you this, and I post it all the time that you are
for me, you're a national treasure because we've all, and I speak for all the artists, we've all wanted to have that kind of exposure, but at the same breath, we wouldn't know what to do with it. You, on the other hand, once you're there, when we see you, and I really want to watch, I'm praying, please, Leia, say the right things. And you always do. It's like you're not even intimidated by the person you're talking to. Where do you get this confidence? Are you ever, okay, better question. Were you ever in fan mode where someone, oh my God, it's talking to me? Did you ever have that moment where the person who was interviewing you or was with you on stage or with you in the audience in the Tony Awards or whatever, that you couldn't believe that he or she was there?
Sometimes it happens where I start fangirling, say on a red carpet, and I get selfies with people, and then they start fangirling or fanboying over what I've been able to do. So I guess the confidence is knowing that chances are it's going to be a mutual admiration society sort of thing. And I'm a fan of quite a few people on Broadway, people like Audra McDonald and people like Bernadette Peters.
Wow.
And it's like, yeah, you can absolutely fanboy and fangirl, and chances are these people have heard of you also and know the quality of the work that you've done. Yeah, so I guess the one way to mentally prepare for something, even if it's just for my own mental state, so that I don't get intimidated by people, it's chances are they're fans of yours also.
And it's important that you walk in with that confidence because you are carrying our flag. That's what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to say.
You're
This is the
nuts,
pressure
guys.
that you now have.
You guys
Now,
are
let me ask
crazy.
you this. In the Broadway community, just like here, I mean, the entertainment world now is affected, just like any other
Yeah.
business or world because of what's happening with COVID-19. What do
Yep.
you think is going to happen? Will the community in Broadway be different?
I want to believe, I'd like to believe that Broadway will return to what it was, but it will not happen this year.
Yeah.
I don't think so. It's not going to happen this year. I don't know that there will be live performances in the way that you and I are accustomed to doing them this year.
Even here.
Well, here we may be able to return to live performance sooner as compared to, say, the United States. We might be able to get back to it if we're able to flatten our curve, if we're able to relieve the pressure on hospitals to care for people, if we are able to if by then there is more wide testing, there is, being able to locate where the pockets of infection are and be able to then focus on that and be able to care for the sick in that way, be able to do more focused, and instead of crazy,
Right.
everybody's just slamming the hospitals because they can't breathe. I think once it gets to a manageable point where, the healthcare system can then handle it,
Right.
then I think we'll be able to return to a somewhat more normal life.
Right.
But right now, while we still have daily cases in the hundreds, I mean, it seems to be coming down. It's now in the 100s rather than the 200s.
That's good news.
That's always good news. And I think if it keeps on going from 3-digit to 2-digit and then single-digit, then I think life can sort of go back. I'm just hoping that once things are opened again, there isn't another second wave of infections
Sure.
that slams the healthcare industry again.
Sure.
So, yeah, it'll get back to normal once the virus is, at a more manageable place. It's not yet.
As a mother, though, how are you? What are you telling your daughter? I mean, of course, your daughter's different from all the other girls I've seen at 13 years old. She's the way you were when I first met you. She's bright, she's quick, she's smart. If she likes you, she'll converse with you. So Leia Salonga. Anyway, I mean, when you were a kid, did you see the video I sent you? Did you even see it?
Which one?
I sent you a video. Someone sent it to me. I don't know why.
Oh, of me as a child?
No, you on Student Canteen.
Yeah, with
the cast of
Mentu and Raymond. Yeah. I think there are about 10 or 15 people that sent that video to me all at the same time.
Oh, how old were you there?
I was 9. I was
You
9
were
years old.
9.
Yeah.
Now,
I was 9.
what do you tell your daughter? What does she know about this quarantine, this lockdown, this staying home? You cannot go out, wash your hands.
She knows. She knows about it. She's aware of it. We do talk about it at the dinner table. We talk about what it is. So she's not sheltered from what this is. And I think it's always a good idea to let your kids know what's happening. And since she's pretty much a homebody in the way that I am, she's like, oh, I'm perfectly fine with staying home, and I've got my video games. I mean, her parents are around her.
Mhm.
She's got her friends a phone call away. She's, she's been able to manage this. And yeah, far better than a lot of other people. She's,
Yes.
she's taking it in stride. She understands, like, yep, the order is to stay home, so I stay home. And so it's not even a thing for her.
What's the first thing that you will do once we get the thumbs up that we can go out? What's the first thing you will do?
Stay home some more.
You just lost 500,000 following right there. They see you as such a worldly person. She's going to go to the most expensive restaurant and get fully made up. That's not you, though, right?
That's not me. I mean, for any of these live streams, I will go so far as to put on eyebrows, blush on, lipstick. That's it. I am not the kind of person that enjoys wearing makeup anyway. I guess because I associate it so closely with work that I don't find pleasure in false eyelashes and in the glam. I mean, I love the results when a professional takes his hand to my face and paints it. But I mean,
like the wedding of my niece, remember? The wedding of my niece, you were in rubber shoes.
I was in sneakers and minimal makeup.
In Alex's wedding.
Here's the thing. I knew I was going to be on my feet, and I was. So all of these women in the high heels were looking at my feet going, you're so lucky. It's like,
why did I think of that, right?
Like, why didn't
you can't see your feet anyway in a gown. You can't see the shoes.
Yeah. I mean, you can just wear get a sneaker that has a platform. Nobody's going to know what's under there.
What's the perfect binge or lazy day for you? What's the perfect day for you at home?
The perfect day for me at home, I get up, I go downstairs, I have my coffee. And I got gifted with this really complicated coffee machine. Last year when I broke my leg, someone's like, oh, you can't go to Starbucks now or anywhere. Let's give you a really nice machine. So I got gifted with this amazing coffee maker. So at the push of a button, I can have whatever I want.
Sarap.
I know. It's so fantastic. I just have to get the beans for it, but otherwise it's amazing. Then I'll probably go upstairs. I'll knit something maybe, or I'll watch TV, or I'll listen to music. I'll make up a playlist, or I'll play some video games, or I'll read a book, or we'll have a Zoom conference with my friends.
Wow, quarantine was meant for you, I think.
Yeah, I think I've been preparing for quarantine my whole life. And because, I broke my leg last year and I couldn't go anywhere.
Right.
Except to physical therapy. So I guess I was ready for this.
And you still came out in a Josh Groban concert in a wheelchair.
Right, in a wheelchair, but in full glam in a gown. Yeah, and it was my birthday, so I wanted to do something fun. And I wanted to be able to fulfill that obligation because it didn't involve travel. It didn't mean that I had to go anywhere where, going through security was going to be like a massive endeavor. This was just going to, the MOA arena and sitting in my wheelchair and singing, sitting in my wheelchair. And yeah, it was completely fine. And
what an experience, I bet.
It was. And he was so lovely. He was truly, truly a lovely person to work with.
Yes, he's a great person. Now, and so are you, because I see you now. You're now a judge on The Voice.
Yeah.
That must be an experience for you to bringing in, discovering new talent. And this country is filled with talent.
It's ridiculous.
How hard is that?
Um, it's difficult. It's easy and it's difficult. The easy part is spotting the talent, um, and figuring out who just naturally is gifted with a voice. And it's always the talent first because our backs are turned. We have no idea
Exactly.
we'd have no idea what's there behind us until we turn around, and then we get to see. And then the other thing that's also difficult, which we're lucky that we have all of these actual singing coaches, at ABS-CBN, people like Lindy Achacoso, Luningning San Jose, um, Mon Silvestre, people like Annie Quintos Uy. I mean, we have all of these people, and then it also then becomes about attitude, because as you and I know, longevity will only happen not just because of your talent. It's also how you are with other people.
Mm-hmm.
How are you a collaborative sort of person? Are you a brat in a rehearsal? Are you someone who is just exhausting to be around? There's exhausting and then there's exhausting. But are you exhausting in a bad way?
Mm-hmm.
Is it like, do you cause headaches for everyone around you? And so, I mean, I can't speak for the other coaches, but I get that sort of intel. And I ask for that kind of intel. How is this person in rehearsal? Is this person difficult? Is this person easy to teach, easy to work with? Does this person have a shot
Right.
at longevity in this business? And I get all of that. I get all of that, all of that intelligence.
Now,
and,
there's a voice in every country, right? There's the America has
almost
voice.
every country, yeah. There's
What-
America and then there's ours, and we have right now 2 active versions. We have the kids version and the teens version.
But not everyone has that, right?
Not everybody has kids, and only a couple of countries have teens. I think it's
So-
just us and Colombia might be the other one. I think it's just 2 countries.
In your opinion, of
In my
all
opinion.
the voices out there, and the competition voice, what does the Philippines have that the others don't have?
Oh, okay. That's a tough one. That is a tough one. But the one thing that we definitely have, it's just how it's just the talent. I mean, everybody's talented everywhere, kind of ridiculously so. I tend to watch the version in the US, in the UK, and I've seen some blind auditions that came from the Netherlands and Germany. It's ridiculous. Like the talent it's staggering. But I think ours, we've just been able to sustain
Mm-hmm.
the shows because it's almost like the talent pool continues to replicate. It's almost as if there's an endless supply.
That's right.
Maybe that's it. If there's anything that's different about us, it's just like it's just that the supply seems almost never ending, and at different ages. We haven't done the adults version in a while, which means that Jason D is pretty much the longest reigning.
I bet he hates that.
No, I don't think he wants to give the crown to anybody else, which is perfectly fine. But yeah, especially with the children, I think we have this almost endless supply
Right.
of talent. It's ridiculous.
I'm
It's just
sure.
ridiculous. Yeah.
And tell me, how impressed, how amazed are you with the musical genius that Gerard is?
I have 3 words: return of investment. I put him through music school, so I feel extremely proud
Oh,
of
Didn't know that.
of the creative output of the of just how easy it is all to him. And yeah, I'm so glad that that's what he ended up choosing for himself, that's what he's doing now, that
and
is
he's
his
so
career.
humble.
He's humble about it. He works his ass off.
Oh, yes.
He is so hardworking. I mean, here, case in point, we did concerts in Dubai just at the beginning of March, before the quarantine was called. So on the plane ride over, on the plane ride back, he had all of these scores out because he had to prepare for concerts that were supposed to happen that ended up not happening. That's why he's still stuck there in Kuala Lumpur. He's been unable to come home. So he's been cooking and cleaning for himself, which makes us all laugh. Not the cooking part, the cleaning part. The cleaning part is what's funny. Yeah, DJ was like, he's cleaning his apartment. So it's like I can actually hear the screaming. So yeah. So I mean, just how hard he worked is like he'll be working on my concerts and studying a Beethoven score at the same time with the red pencil and marking how he's going to conduct it and listening to interpretations of it on his phone or on his iPad or on his iPod or whatever, in order to know, so that when he shows up at the first day of rehearsal, he is prepared. So he has that reputation for always coming into anything that he does, knowing more than anybody else what's supposed to go down and how everything is supposed to happen.
Well, you did the right thing. Even before you became a coach on The Voice Philippines, you're already noticing talent. You found it in your brother. It was a leap of faith for you. And not too many people know how much you support your family. I mean, support this way, not support this way. How you support the family and how much faith you have in the talent that Gerard truly is. And in a way, I think, like you said, investment, return of investment.
Yeah, and I say that with a laugh. I always say return of investment with a laugh. But
it must be.
When you see that it's worth it, you have to dive in. You know, you have to dive in head first. And have complete faith in what this young man could do.
It could have gone another way. I mean, being a young man, right?
Yeah.
So that was a good move on your part. Now, talking about leap of faith, as far as what you've been doing in your career, it's a hit and miss thing also. Being the young person that you were when you entered the business, working with some of the most popular and the biggest names in the business of Broadway and theater, you were there, and with you, you brought us with you to this journey. And I'm just one person, one of the artists here in this country, but more than anything, a fan. Everything that you've ever done, Leia, has brought tears to my eyes, tears of pride, and that I say, you know what? That girl is Filipino, and you know what? I can call her friend. And you know what? If I could just share one song with her, just one, I will be a better person and a better singer. There's no one.
We've sung a lot together, though.
I want more.
Mark.
I want more. It's an honor to sing with you, and I think I speak for every artist in this country. You bring so much pride. I mean, I've never been prouder to be a Filipino and a Filipino artist. Is because I know Leia Salonga.
Wow.
That's the truth, and I love you. You know that.
I love you too, Mart.
I love and respect.
I gotta cook you souffles now because I've actually gotten and perfected them during quarantine. Yes, chocolate souffles. I mean, Rob requested them for his birthday, and I got it wrong. And then I did it again the next day, and I got it right. So I know how to make chocolate souffle.
Chocolate souffle is probably better than a duet. That would be better than singing with you. Would try your chocolate souffle. That would be the best.
I'll make them for you when we're out of this quarantine. You can just make your burgers or your steaks or whatever, and then I'll cook dessert. It'll be a team effort in the kitchen. We'll do this.
As long as you don't make me any pie.
No pie, I promise.
Leia, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for what you do. And still, from the bottom of my heart, I feel you are the most amazing person I've ever known in this industry. And you really bring us so much pride. Will you sing with me, please?
Absolutely. Anytime.
Leia Salonga in the house.
I pray you'll be alright and watch us where we go and help us to be wise in times when we don't know.
cercherai
I pray we'll find your light
nel coro resterà
and hold it in our heart.
ricordarci
When
che
stars go out each night,
per la stella sei nella mia preghiera.
let this be our prayer.
Quanta fede c'è
When shadows fly,
lead us to a place,
guide us with your grace. Give us faith so we'll be safe. Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia e di speranza. Ognuno dirà, ma non sono vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità.
la forza che ci
We
dai,
ask that life be
il
kind
desiderio
and
che
watch us from above.
uno proprio
We
amor
hope each soul will find
interno entro sé.
another soul to love. Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer.
Just like every child,
Just like every child, need to find a place. Guide us with your grace. Give us faith